So Brian Gutekunst just had his annual pre-combine press conference, and obviously with all that's been going on with the Green Bay Packers this offseason, he had a few things to say about both Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love that I find pretty interesting. Now, first and foremost, Brian Gutekunst basically said he doesn't have a real update on Aaron Rodgers, so don't expect some big announcement today or tomorrow or anything of that sort. It's going to come through Aaron Rodgers first, maybe talking to Brian Gutekunst, which he just hasn't done yet. But he also did mention that he does expect that to happen soon. So obviously we know Aaron Rodgers finished his darkness retreat last week, and that was going to play a big toll into whether or not he decides to play football again. And I think the Packers at this point and Brian Gutekunst are kind of waiting for Aaron Rodgers. The ball's in his court. Whenever he's ready to give that decision, Gutekunst did say he expects it before free agency on March 16th. And Aaron Rodgers gave his decision last year on March 8th, which we're coming up on that mark now. So expect a formal decision on the whole Aaron Rodgers saga this offseason in the next week or two. Gutekunst was also asked specifically if he wants Aaron Rodgers back as the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Do you want him back as the quarterback of the Packers?
Yeah, I think those discussions have to happen and making sure that it's the right fit. But obviously, we know the kind of player that Aaron is, and once we had those conversations, we'll be able to move forward. We'll have more to say.
So interestingly enough, in that clip, he didn't really say a definite yes. We 100% want Aaron Rodgers back in the building. He says, we know what kind of player Aaron Rodgers is, and once we have those conversations, we'll see if it's the right fit. So it seems like Gutekunst at this point is kind of, on the fence here because Aaron Rodgers hasn't given him a true answer. So obviously Gutekunst is going to be looking for the future in Jordan Love, a player he drafted in the first round and really, really likes, when Aaron Rodgers isn't even sure if he's going to be playing football again. So I found that very interesting. We've seen many reports saying that the Packers would 100% welcome Aaron Rodgers back into the building if he does decide to come back. But I didn't really get that vibe from Gutekunst in this. It was kind of like, well, we haven't had those conversations yet, which is 100% true. They still need to talk to Aaron Rodgers and see where his headspace is. And once that happens, then maybe Gutekunst goes, yes, we 100% want Aaron Rodgers back in the building. He's ready to play football. We're all in again. He's all in again. Let's go into this 2023 season with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But like I said, in this press conference, it did not seem that way. And I commend him for that because he can't just sit here and wait around like a puppy dog for Aaron Rodgers to give him his decision. He has to think about the future of the football team with Aaron Rodgers or without Aaron Rodgers. So I do commend Gutekunst on that answer and basically how he's dealing with this entire situation. Then Gutekunst was asked if he thinks Jordan Love is ready to start, and he had way more of a sure answer about this than the whole Aaron Rodgers question.
Is this a hypothetical, or is Jordan Love ready to be an NFL starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's ready to play, and I think he's ready to be an NFL starting quarterback. He's worked really hard. He's shown a lot of progression. I know he's really eager to have that, and I think that's the next step in his progression is to play.
So as you see there, it was an instant yes. I believe Jordan Love is ready to be a starting NFL quarterback. He's given a lot in the past 3 years, and he believes that is Jordan Love's next step in his progression to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, he didn't say be the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, so that could also mean, if Aaron Rodgers comes back, them trading Jordan Love to give him a starting chance on another team. But it seemed really confident from Brian Gutekunst that, yes, Jordan Love, regardless, is going to be a starter. He should be a starter. So like I said, Gutekunst is thinking about the future year. He does not know about Aaron Rodgers. So as much as we want to sit here and speculate on what the Green Bay Packers might end up doing, even Gutekunst doesn't know at this point. So he's thinking about the future, and that's Jordan Love because he is currently on the roster and he knows 100% he's going to be playing football in 2023. He obviously loves Aaron Rodgers and what he brings to the organization, and they know what they have in him, four-time MVP. But the fact of the matter is he hasn't given his answer, and he knows what he has in Jordan Love as well because, he's the one that drafted him in the first round to technically replace Aaron Rodgers. So he also very much believes in Jordan Love and believes he can, do good with this football team and be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But I do find it pretty interesting, the difference in answers there. So confident. Yes, 100% on the Jordan Love question. He's ready to be a starter. And then asking about, do you want Aaron Rodgers back in the building as the Packers quarterback? It was like, well, we'll see what happens. We need to still have those conversations. So definitely a different vibe on each of those questions. Gutekunst also gave a pretty important answer on whether or not the roster management would change if it was Jordan Love at quarterback or Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Because obviously you would think if they bring back Aaron Rodgers, they're obviously going all in again. Maybe they push more money out to the future and retain more guys and sign more free agents, whereas Jordan Love, you'd kind of expect sort of a rebuild. but he had other things to say.
No, I don't think so. I think, obviously, he's a big part. If he comes back, he's a big part of what we're doing. But at the same time, I don't think that will really change the roster much.
So as you see, he said that wouldn't really change the other parts of the roster, whether it's Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers. I know a lot of us like to believe if they do move on to Jordan Love, it's going to be a full rebuild, but it doesn't seem like Brian Gutekunst thinks it that way. I mean, he's GM. He's building this football team to win football games. Now, obviously, you have to think about the future, and a rebuild can really help you for future years with money and draft picks and all of that, but with the confidence he instills in Jordan Love and says he's ready to be a starting quarterback, I don't think it would be a full-on rebuild. Now, would they cut ties with some of the older players? Maybe, but they're still going to surround Jordan Love with talent and maybe go out and sign a couple free agents, maybe a receiver or offensive line or something of that sort, or on the defense, and surround Jordan Love with talent as well. I don't think it would be a full-on rebuild and trying to get rid of all ties of big contracts. It wouldn't be anything of that. So that's why, the Jair Alexander, Preston Smith restructure, I think they're doing that regardless, and we will see more restructures and more re-signings, guys like Mason Crosby and whatnot. Gutekunst was also asked a little bit about Aaron Jones and, the restructure and all of that, and basically Gutekunst echoed that Aaron Jones is a dynamic player, and he's very appreciative to keep him around in this building, and also mentioned he's a team leader, and he think he'll get an even bigger leader role going into this next season. Basically just kept praising Aaron Jones, and now we fully understand that Aaron Jones is here to stay. There's also a couple other things Gutekunst said just to close this video out today. A tweet here by Aaron Nagler basically says, Brian Gutekunst met with the local Green Bay media this morning. Most noteworthy things I took away: David Bakhtiari and Mason Crosby will be back. So obviously, I don't think this is any shock to say that David Bakhtiari will be back. I mean, he's still under contract, and it doesn't really make much sense to cut or trade him. Yes, he does have a very big deal, but an extension or some sort of restructure kind of makes more sense. And even if it's Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, I mean, you need a really good left tackle to block their blind side. That is very important, especially for someone like Jordan Love, who would be going into his first year starting. You got to protect the guy. Got to protect Aaron Rodgers as well. But more importantly, it seemed very evident that Mason Crosby will be back. And I know a lot of people are on the fence with this. They want to see the Packers move on from Mason Crosby, maybe draft someone like Jake Moody. But it seems Gutekunst wants Crosby back, and that's going to be the case. Now, that doesn't mean there's not going to be some competition in offseason going into training camp. They might still draft someone like Jake Moody to compete with Mason Crosby, or sign a free agent or something of that sort to compete with Mason Crosby. And if they beat him out, then they beat him out. But it seems like Mason Crosby is definitely going to be back, at least for the offseason and into training camp. Followed up on Crosby, Gutekunst gives him credit for starting the season and playing so quickly after his injury, says they'll have some things to work through contract-wise in the coming weeks. So yeah, that just reiterates that he's bringing Mason Crosby back in the building. They just got to figure out the whole contract thing, as he is an impending free agent. One interesting note on the Rodgers front, Gutekunst indicated that if Rodgers does return, there will most likely be some kind of adjustment / restructure of his contract. That's definitely important there. He's set to have a $31 million cap hit if Aaron Rodgers does return and come back into the building as a starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Now, how they would adjust that contract is a very confusing one, with the back end of that contract basically being dummy years and not really being years that Aaron Rodgers is going to play. So the contract's very confusing. So obviously, I don't have any really projection of how they would move that contract around, or if Aaron Rodgers would take some pay cuts. Obviously, they haven't had any of those conversations, but it seems like that contract wouldn't sit as is, which a $31 million cap hit for a 4-time MVP quarterback, it isn't even bad on its own. But obviously, if Aaron Rodgers does come back, it likely is his last year, and they're going to want to be going all in again. So they want to create as much cap room as possible to bring in more free agents, more talent, and go all in and go for a championship again. So restructuring that, pushing a little bit money out, or adjusting that contract in some way, shape, or form is likely. But that about does it for this video. I wanted to give you guys the main takeaways from this Brian Gutekunst press conference. Combine coming up, big week for the draft. Super excited. But yeah, I definitely see an Aaron Rodgers decision in the next week or so definitely be on the lookout for that. And guys, if you are new here and want more Packers news, analysis, and updates every single day, go down, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everyone that watches these videos and clicks the subscribe button. You guys mean the world to me. Also, guys, wanted to remind you, this is the last day to enter in this month's giveaway. It is a double giveaway, so if you haven't entered already, go to pristinaauction.com, sign up on their website using code BASS, B-A-S, and you'll be entered right into this giveaway. It's free to enter, And signing up using my code BASS, BAS, will give you a free $10 site credit on their website, and they have a ton of really, really cool signed Packers items to check out. This month's giveaway is a signed Quay Walker Packers jersey. That's the first item there. And the second item is this signed AJ Hawk Packers picture here. So like I said, if you want to get in on this, which you definitely should, this is the last day to do so. A winner will be announced in the next coming days. pristineauction.com. Sign up on their website using code BASS. But that about does it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.